Thank you for listening to the Welcome Matt podcast. I am your host, Matt Caldwell. I am here with Kyle Andrews.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Great. How are you doing today?
I am hungover today.
Hungover. What'd you get up to last night?
I went out with some high school friends, and we drank a lot, apparently, which is a thing that we didn't do in high school so much, and now we do. So that was neat.
Well, congrats.
Thank you. It was a great accomplishment on my part.
Yeah. How many drinks did you have? What was your number?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
At least 5. But, that's not enough to be as hungover as I am now, so I know it was a lot more than that.
And what's the number where you start to feel what's going on?
Oh, probably. I think by the time I get to, 8 pints, I think that's, I'm pretty done.
Yeah. 8's a nice round number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably still too much. It's a number that my mom would be mad at me for drinking.
Well, it is an accomplishment at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thanks for swinging by the podcast.
For sure, man.
It's great to have you here. You actually run your own podcast. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I'm one of the 2 guys that runs Fanfiction Nation, which is we read fan fiction. It's right in the title. I don't know why. It was how do I explain this? Fan fiction. We do dramatic readings of fan fiction that we've either written or that we find on the internet or people submitted to us. It's a comedy podcast. We do video series and all that stuff too. So you can check that one out, Fanfiction Nation. We have a website, fanfictionnation.com.
Now, is it electric fans or?
Yes, it's all electric fans.
All electric fans.
We do have one handheld fan, but it's not very good.
Well, what the Welcome Matt podcast is, it's a place for creative types, artists, stand-ups, writers, performers to come by and we play some games together. So the first game we're going to play today is called Spoiled Movies. I'm looking for a new movie to watch, and you were telling me before that we started that you saw War Dogs the other night.
Yeah, I would highly recommend War Dogs. It's a great movie. You want to know about it, though, I assume.
Yeah, I don't mind being spoiled. I find movies are better if I know exactly what's going to happen. I can keep my emotions in check.
That is always a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't like to be surprised and then, cry at a movie when I didn't think I was going to cry at a movie. But I will tell you this. You will cry in War Dogs.
Wow. Tears of joy? Tears of sadness?
I mean, it really depends on how you feel about things. I would say tears of sadness. But if you don't like Jonah Hill that much, it might be tears of joy.
Oh, Jonah Hill, he plays Ephraim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he dies 100%.
Wow.
Almost right away. He's barely in the movie. It's very strange.
More of a cameo than a starring role for him.
Yeah, so I don't know why they put him on the posters. He dies of a cocaine overdose.
I didn't think you could do that.
Well, I'm sure that there was other things involved. The events of the death were under question for the entire movie, so
okay.
They're not really sure. But I think it was the implication was that it was laced with something in the country that they were in, which I don't think was ever specified in the movie, but I'm going to assume, since it was dry and stuff everywhere, I think it was the Australian outback.
Yeah, that's likely.
Because, there's a big war going on in Australia right now. Well, it wrapped up.
The War of the Didgeridoos.
Yes.
Yes.
One side with the emus playing didgeridoos, and then the other side was people and Jonah Hill.
And where do the kangaroos side in this?
They're more like the Swiss. They're sort of neutral in this one. Now, Swiss is the neutral country, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's at least one of them. Yeah.
That's good. So they're pretty neutral throughout the whole movie. But it was more about drug running than I thought it was going to be about, which was surprising. I thought it was going to be more war-based. But that's why Jonah Hill dies of a cocaine overdose, because they were smuggling drugs to the troops.
Well, they need them.
They do need them.
Yeah. You got to let your hair down and relax when you're not dropping bombs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, let your hair down while you're dropping bombs, and you'll have more fun instead of, feeling bad about what you're doing.
Miles Teller, I believe, is in this movie.
Yeah. Miles was an interesting character, for sure. He was not exactly a likable character. Like, didn't have a lot of redeeming features, I would say. I mean, he's a drug
Except
runner.
his face.
Except his face. Yeah, that was
those
really
features.
that really lets him get away with a lot in the movie. But yeah, he was a drug runner with Ephraim, so like he wasn't a nice character to begin with.
Yeah.
Great actor though, fantastic. He gives a monologue through the middle of it, about in the middle of the movie, sort of about Jonah Hill's death and all that, and it's a real tearjerker for sure.
Are there any actual dogs in this movie?
No, and you think there would be, because I was expecting at least some like dingoes. I think there might have been like a pack in the background somewhere, but none. They didn't have a pet dog, which you would think they would, that has like a rocket launcher on him or something like that, because he's a war dog.
Yes.
And I think that was in the trailers too. And then so they must have cut that scene from the movie.
I hate it when they do that.
It's the worst.
I
That's
want
the
to see
whole
the
reason
whole
I went to
thing
the
in
movie.
the trailer. Just give me the whole movie in the trailer, all 2 hours and 20 minutes of it in the trailer.
Yeah, and just put it on.
And just put it out
in the middle of wrestling, and I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Because I'm already watching wrestling, I'll watch your movie too.
You're committed.
Exactly.
Now, do you see any awards coming from this movie? Any possibilities?
Yeah. Jonah Hill, I think, will get a Best Supporting Actor nomination for this one. An Oscar for sure. And visually, it was great. So I would see it going up against, some of the other big visual movies of the past year, like Fantastic Beasts had some great. You said you saw that one, right?
Oh yes, tons of beasts.
Bad movie, great visual. I think this one will give it a run for its money.
Yeah.
Lots of CGI in it, very impressive.
Now, what age group would this be targeted towards? Is
Toddlers.
Toddlers
Yeah.
mainly?
I felt too smart for the movie at times, but I think kids would really relate to the drug cartel aspect of it.
Yes. Tell me about the director. It's Todd Phillips, right? He did the Hangover movies.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a departure from the Hangover for him. I think it's not so much a comedy at all, which I really expected out of Jonah Hill, because that's really all I expect from him.
Yeah,
some
goofs.
His
bread and his butter.
Yeah, mostly his butter.
Yes.
But it's a bit of a departure. It's not as funny as all of that. It's much more dramatic.
More bread and margarine.
Yeah, definitely more margarine than butter. I would agree with that.
Okay, now I like to get like an idea. I always look up the ratings before I go to movies too, just to see what other people think. If you're going to give this a score, what would you give it out of 100 on the old moldy pumpkin meter?
I'll give you a rating, but I'm also going to ask you, do you like Jonah Hill?
Personally or professionally?
Professionally.
Yeah.
What about personally?
Well, we did have that falling out.
Right. That's true. Okay, but if you like him, I would give this movie an 87 on the moldy pumpkin meter.
That's pretty high.
If you don't like him, I would give it an 85.
2% difference.
And it's a big 2%.
Yeah.
That's moving it from a A to an A+.
And how many thumbs would you give this movie?
If I had 6, I could give it 6. But I only have 2, so I'll give it 1.
You're limited in thumbs.
Yes.
Excellent.
I think.
So tell me a little bit about how this wraps up in the end. What's the final scene? Give me all the juicy details.
Ooh, okay. Well, I feel bad spoiling it because it's such a good movie, but I know that's the point of this.
Yeah, exactly.
This interview. But I just want to warn the listeners. I'm going to ruin the movie for you.
Yeah.
So, you know that, but...
Spoiler alert. Lay it on me.
So, the final scene of the movie, they cut back to Jonah Hill's coffin. And it's all the somber music, and there's people around. They're sort of mourning him and everything. And then his fist punched through the top of the coffin.
Whoa!
And then it cuts to black. And that's the end of the movie. So they're definitely setting it up for a sequel.
Oh, War Dogs 2.
War Dogs 2, Jonah Hill Rising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they use his actual name.
Yeah.
in the title.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because otherwise people wouldn't go see it because they don't know who.
Yeah.
Who Ephraim is.
Wow. Well, I want to say that thanks for giving me that spoiler review. Now I know exactly what I'm getting myself into when I choose to watch this movie.
I would highly recommend it. Even though like you know the ending now, it's still worth it for the journey to get there.
Yeah. It's all about the journey, not the destination.
No. That's
right.
true.
We're on the welcome mat with Kyle Andrews.
Sure are, buddy.
Yeah, and we're about to play a little thing called Love to Hate. It's where the guest picks something, could be a belief, could be an idea, could be an article of clothing, could be body part, anything that they love to hate and feel completely justified in doing so. So Kyle, what do you love to hate?
I loathe watching people, like uninteresting people, have a good time. That is just the worst thing ever, but I love watching it happen. But I hate those people so much. It just drives me nuts. Like, I wasn't sure what I was going to say for this, and then I was on the subway yesterday, and these people were friggin' talking like they were having the best time of their life, and they weren't doing anything. Like, the guy, he was like, picture what you think the worst version of a dungeon master from Dungeons and Dragons would be. And that's the guy that was telling the story. So he set up like this whole scene, and you're just like, all right, so we mixed it all together, and then I was like, I'm not feeling anything. So we put in another shot. So now we had 2 shots of vodka in the bottle of Mountain Dew, and things got crazy. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Never,
2 shots. Like,
Mountain Dew. Never, ever use Mountain Dew.
No.
As
Also,
a mix.
2 shots, like, that's breakfast. That's not an impressive story to start telling. I had 2 shots of vodka.
Ooh, at the same time?
At the same time. And he didn't even finish it. Like, he was telling the story. He's like, and then it got down to the bottom of the bottle, and there was too much vodka and not enough Mountain Dew, so I couldn't even finish it. And I'm just like, just seething with rage sitting beside these people, trying to not show that I hate them so much. But they're all laughing and having a good time and think that this was a good story he was telling. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Now, how many people were there? How many listeners did he have?
I think there was 5 or 6 of them. One of the people that was there, I don't know if he was part of the group or not, or if he was just doing what I was doing and just listening. Or if he was part of the group but embarrassed by how excited they were. So he's like, I'm just going to stay out of this one for now.
Do you think any of the group members were faking interest?
No, not a chance. I don't think they had the capabilities of any acting at all. I think they can display genuine emotions, and that's it. They just we're just such awful, terrible people.
Now, what is it about people that are bad having a good time that you dislike? Is there a past event, maybe, that you were forced to like something that you just didn't?
Well, I think everybody's had to sit through something that they didn't enjoy but had to pretend they did. Like family dinners.
Or childbirth.
I say that, but my family's fine. I enjoy dinners with my family. I don't know why I shout on my family like that.
That's just the go-to. The holiday season.
Yeah, there's always been things that you've been dragged to by, like, your parents growing up, or like your girlfriend or boyfriend at some point has been like, we're going to my friend's party. You're like, I don't know any of them. I'm not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, but you do have to fake it at the same time.
Yeah, but you fake it.
And then you look for the first out to get out of there.
Yeah. But when you're on the subway, you don't have to fake that you're having a good time. You can just hate those people.
Yeah.
Openly.
So you dislike this so much. Do you have any plans to get rid of it? How would you go about eliminating people just making a good time out of a bad time?
I'm just going to start poisoning Mountain Dew, I think.
That's clever.
Because if those are the type of people that drink Mountain Dew, we don't need them around anymore anyway.
Mountain Dew is already a little poisonous to begin with.
I think so.
I think it can melt a car.
I think Code Red makes me throw up. I don't even know if they still make it anymore, but it makes me throw up.
I don't know. Are there other codes?
I'm sure there's a Code Blue, but I don't know what it would be. Maybe it's raining outside, Code Blue.
Code pink, code orange. It's like the terror watch.
Yeah.
So whatever, code red is like the maximum
Things
terror.
are on fire.
Yeah.
Like shit's burning down.
I love to hate Mountain Dew, I believe.
Yeah, I could have said that too, and it would have been just as passionately described how much I hate Mountain Dew.
So how would the world be better without these people around?
Well, I wouldn't have to put up with them, and that would be so great.
Yeah.
And I'm only thinking for my own benefit. I'm sure that them and their friends all like each other and would be so sad that they didn't exist anymore. But me, I don't need them to be in my life, even for like the 2 stations that those guys were on.
Wow, they accomplished a lot in 2 stations.
Yeah, I think it was probably a longer subway ride than that, but maybe 4. I don't know. Time was really hard to judge because I was just so angered.
Well, yeah, when you're on the subway, there are really 2 kinds of people. The kind of people who are quiet and don't make eye contact, and they just go about their own business. And then you got the people who want to entertain everybody there and feel like everybody is there.
And that's fine.
To hear them.
As long as you're an interesting person. But not if you're like a terrible ogre of a man that doesn't have a good story to tell.
What kind of ogre? Are we talking Shrek or Lord of the Rings?
He's not as jolly as Shrek, but I'd say looked more like Shrek.
Again with the Mountain Dew. I think it turns your skin that hue of greenish.
It does. It's a good point. Ugh.
Don't do the dew.
I guess I really don't have to poison it if that's what it does. If it just automatically turns people into ogres.
Now, is there a time that you could think of where you maybe were telling a story and you could tell that somebody just wasn't feeling the story that you were telling?
Oh, I'm sure the story I just told was one of those. Yeah, all the time. That's when you end up making up an ending to your story so that you're like, oh, this isn't interesting. I'll just make something up and then it'll be more interesting at the end.
Yes. Again, and thank you for listening to the Welcome At Podcast, where things get interesting, but only at the end. You start making up stuff to
re-engage them.
To re-engage them. You can just completely lie about...
Yeah, just try to, like, grasping at straws to draw them back in. Because you can see them like, I want to check my phone right now, but it would be rude. And you're like, don't check your phone.
Yeah.
I killed a man. And they're like, oh my God, what? And you're like, no, not really, but I almost did. Let me tell you about it. And then you make up a story about how you ran over somebody with your car.
You don't even own a car.
I don't, but I did run somebody over once. No, I made that up. See what I just did? I thought I was losing you.
Yeah, I was totally drawn in. Okay, here we are on the Welcome At Podcast. Love to hate. Kyle Andrews hates it when boring people try to be interesting.
It's the worst.
Yes. Hello, and thank you for listening to the Welcome At Podcast. I'm here with Kyle Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
I wasn't sure if I was going to say yay or yo, and it came out in the middle.
Yeah. I feel like that should be the new greeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah. If you're going to be on board with something,
that's the one to go with.
That's the one to go with. So we're going to play a little game called How It Isn't Made. And what we do here, Kyle will draw a slip of paper, and written on it is an object, a thing, a belief, and he will give step-by-step instructions on how not to create this item. So here we are with the hat. It's a Toronto Blue Jays hat. Go Jays.
Go Jays. All right. I'll take this one.
That's the one.
And look at it. Ooh, okay. I don't know how to make glass, so this is going to be great.
Great. So step by step, how to make glass.
Okay, well, first of all, you go down to your beach, the closest beach. If you don't have a beach, you're screwed. You can't make glass. But go down to the beach, get a handful of sand, and put it in your left pocket.
Okay, left, not right.
Yeah, if you put it in your right pocket, like, you might it'll get like a tinted color to it. So I mean, if you want to make like stained glass windows or whatever, maybe put it in your right. But it's easier to add color later when you're in the process of it, rather than just like
food coloring, right?
Yeah, you don't want to put it in your right pocket and hope it turns out red and it comes out blue instead because you're wearing blue jeans.
That's totally embarrassing.
So put it in your left pocket. Walk back to your beach house. Again, if you don't have a beach house, you're screwed. You can't make glass. Put it in a tub. One of those large Rubbermaid storage tubs.
Not like a bathtub.
No. You don't want it in a bathtub. Too much water. That's why the glass has like bubbles in it sometimes, because there's too much water.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want that. Anyway, so you put it in one of those like storage tub container things, and then you stomp on it like grapes. To make wine, like that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So you stomp on it like that for a little while until it grounds it into a nice fine paste, a sand paste, if you will.
Oh, sand paste.
And you fire it up. And after a little while, after it's been on a fire, you can also barbecue it too if you don't have a fire pit. You can just barbecue it.
Yeah.
Not in the Rubbermaid storage container. You don't want that, because then you just be inhaling fumes.
You don't want to look like an idiot.
No, nobody wants to look like an idiot making glass.
No.
So you just sprinkle the paste on you can put it on a pan if you want. That part's really up to you. It's personal preference. And then you throw it on the fire for 48 hours or so. Low heat is a slow cook. If you put it in too much, it will burn the glass.
You don't want to do that either, no.
You don't want to burn that. So that's what you do, and then you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. And that's where you can add in the food coloring and all that sort of stuff, like in the cooking process, to dye your glass your colors.
And what can you use this glass for?
Oh, anything. Mostly just for glasses, though, like face glasses, not drinking glasses.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could, but it's got it from the beach. Like, it's dirty. You don't want to put water in that and drink it.
So when you make the glass, you make it for, like, household items?
Yeah. Just not anything you'd put in your mouth.
Not in or near your mouth?
Well, you can put it near your mouth. That's fine. Just don't put it in your mouth. Yeah, so that's how you make glass. And then, I guess, yeah, if you want to get risky, you can make, spoons out of it and stuff, but I don't know why you would.
Glass spoons?
Yeah. It's like a lesser version of a silver spoon. So somebody that grew up, with things, but not a lot of things. Like you grew up with a silver spoon or whatever that saying is.
Like you got to make your own glass.
Yeah. So you're not like super well-to-do, but you're okay as a person.
Yeah, you're okay in this world if you can make your own glass.
Yeah.
You can forge ahead.
Yeah, and if you really want to, diversify. No, that's not the word I wanted to say.
Say it anyway.
If you really wanted to diversify.
Nice word.
Oh, thanks. It's what I meant to say the whole time. No, if you want to expand your, to make a job out of this, you can hire a bunch of street urchins and stuff to stomp on the glass or stomp on the sand for you.
Nice. Like a glassmith.
Yeah, exactly. A glassmith.
Yeah.
A diversifying glassmith.
Now, I wear reading glasses because my vision is terrible. So what would it be a similar process if I'm making reading glasses?
It's a similar process, but at that point, you'd want to, if you're just making glass for whatever reason, I said you can just put it on whatever you want, like a tray, a metal pan, or whatever. If you're making reading glasses, they have to have that curvature to it. So you're going to have to find something to cook it on that has the ability to curve as well, because you'll want to curve it up as you're doing it.
Concave or convex, whichever it may be.
Exactly.
Now, why is glass so fragile?
Oh, because it likes to be a pain. It doesn't like that you stomped on it to make it, so it likes to make your life more difficult.
Just a pain in the glass.
Exactly. That was really funny. I like that.
Nah, it's about a 6 out of 10 on the pun scale.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's a decent number.
Yeah. Here, with Kyle Andrews, he just explained step by step how to make glass. If you follow these instructions, you will have your own glass.
Just don't put it in your mouth.
Thank you for listening to the Welcome At podcast. My guest this week was Kyle Andrews. I want to say thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.